Could your future smartphone use nuclear batteries? That is right, nuclear batteries in your smartphone. So a Chinese startup called Beta Volt is making nuclear batteries now, apparently. I'm not a physicist, so I'm talking about this from more of a consumer standpoint, I guess, more than anything, because there's a lot of science here. But let me talk a couple of science things to start off with. So this is a combination apparently of something called nickel-63, which is a radioactive isotope that decays ultimately into copper, and combine this with a diamond semiconductor, and that decay creates electricity. I guess the decay of the radioactive isotope generates electricity instead of I don't know, however a normal battery works. It's the reverse, I think. I don't again, not a physicist, but anyway, this is promised to be a 50-year battery. The decay takes 50 years from this nickel-63 down to copper, and all that time is generating energy. So this apparently is not exactly new tech. It's been around since the 50s, at least in some variation. The new part here is the combination with the diamond semiconductor and the fact that they can scale it, I guess. So this produces current, doesn't exactly store current like a battery normally stores current. You charge a battery, it then stores it, and you then release it. This just constantly generates power. And can last for 50 years with no recharge is what we're talking about. This is like a perpetual battery, a 50-year perpetual battery. Right now, this is 100 microwatts at 3 volts, so it's not a lot of power, is the issue. The goal is to produce a version that is, in 2025, a 1-watt version that can ultimately power, and then go from there, that can ultimately power things like mobile phones and drones. They're talking about having basically a drone that you send up and can sit up in the air for 50 years. A perpetual drone in the air. So that's kind of crazy, but there you go. The issue with this is your average cell phone takes somewhere between 2 and 6 watts. So this battery that's going to come out is a 1 watt. So while we're not at cell phone levels yet, the goal is to get to a cell phone. So what do you think, Paul? Comfortable carrying around a nuclear battery in your pocket? And is it any different than a lithium ion, which we know can literally blow up in your pocket?
Explode.
Thanks, Samsung.
So I have a couple of questions. Number one, is it gonna give me superpowers? If that's the case,
potentially,
like I would love to be like, be able to have.
You can merge with the Tesseract, become Captain Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an unknown at this point.
Or am I gonna have like a third eyeball or a second appendage, the third appendage, whatever? But
second
listen, I can't count to save my life. But also, I like how they start with the phone, but the ideal use case, a drone that's able to autonomously operate for 50 years.
Sounds very Chinese of it, doesn't it?
That does sound Chinese.
Yeah, it's like they're basically building like batteries that could power like T1000, if you haven't watched,
right.
or 800, whatever the model is from Terminator 2.
T1000.
T1000, yeah.
Yep.
And so that's what the goal is. I mean, I think, also like,
they're patrolling the border with these drones.
Here's the thing, like when you buy a battery, they're like, it's going to last you, let's say like a month, and there's a cost associated with it. So if it's a 50-year battery span, that's like 50 years worth of other batteries that you could be purchasing. So the price is not going to be like something we're going to be able to afford, It's like,
maybe
it'll be like $1 million for a 50-year battery. Great. What the hell did I need it for?
This is interesting. Your point there, Paul. This is interesting. Like a lot of technologies are converging at the moment, aren't they? So we have like the AI thing pushing one way. We have robots, which we haven't talked about in a minute, but maybe we'll talk about those next week.
Yes.
And then these batteries coming in. Maybe we are at the convergence
of something.
Onto
something. They are definitely. So here's the thing, like. I love Amazon, right? Let's say Amazon's greatest service.
Do you though?
But
do you?
Let me tell you, if you came to Amazon right now and you said, "Listen, we have these 50-year lasting batteries, we have these cheap humanoid robots, and we have an AI OS that could power a whole warehouse with these machines," they're obviously going to lay off all the humans. 1,000%. I think the goal of Amazon is how can we get rid of the human labor so they don't have to take breaks like humans like
Dumb
'cause-
humans.
yeah, exactly. Like have to go to the bathroom or have family issues. Like we don't need that. We gotta have robots.
Unions? Who needs unions?
Yes.
We have
It would be
robots.
like hilarious thing.
Robot
though.
that action.
Right. This is what I'm waiting for. Amazon, they bet big on these, nuclear, like tinfoil hat on, right? Just before someone thinks I'm crazy. They bet on these
Too
like
late.
nuclear. Thank you. Nuclear batteries. The humanoid robots will be hilarious and like the OpenAI AI to power them robots will be hilarious is if they go big, like NVIDIA, all these chips, and they create these robots, and the robots become self-aware and all the same issues that come with being a human, like having emotions, having rights. And then it just backfires because it's just like, now it's like, we have these robots that also have rights, but they're much smarter, better, and like we can't control them that well. So, I mean, maybe at the end we'll have the final laugh as pitiful humans that
I think power is one of the last, like, or I'm not going to say last, but is a giant issue to solve, right?
Yeah.
It has been for a while, and why battery tech, like in your phone, whatever, is impressively amazing. It really is. But the fact that you can only make an electric car travel so far, it has a range issue, right? The fact that your phone can only last for a couple of days on a charge, like, we want it to be like,
I know. I'm
or a
like,
day.
dang,
Well,
what
whatever,
kind of
whatever.
what kind of usage are you getting out of your phone?
But we want it to be like, we want to charge it once a week, right? Or once a month, whatever, or never charge it, right?
Never charge
I mean, the goal is to never charge it, right? It's like literally to buy a phone
100%.
and never have to charge it. That's the
Amen.
ultimate goal. It's a pain to have to do. So it's a giant problem to solve. I don't know if this is the road that we go down. Nuclear batteries might be the solution. I don't know. But I'm telling you, the next big NVIDIA type company is somebody who makes a battery that lasts for 50 years that we do have in phones or wherever, or your car or whatever it is. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. They're a world-dominating company because it's in everything that we use right now. If the power goes out, you have nothing.
Right.
Yeah. You make a great point. We need a good battery. I mean, like when the death-killing machines are chasing you, you don't want to be like in that Terminator 1 movie where it's like trying to get Sarah Connor and then the battery dies and just turns off.
Exactly.
It's like you don't want those issues. You want it
Exactly.
to work for at least 50 years.
You want it to get Sarah Connor. I mean,
yeah, I think like to everything that's happening, I'm like genuinely like excited and scared at the same time to see where the world is going. And I think like if someone told me like, would you want to live back in the 90s or 80s, like when the times were simpler, to be honest, I would still want to live right now because we're literally seeing like something huge happen. And one of the things I remember talking to my grandmother when she was alive is like she went from like seeing horses as main transportation to like living through people going to the moon. Right. And I was like, what are we going to see that's going to be cool? Because I don't care about like moon landing. Who cares? Like, it's probably fake anyway. No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of like the best thing that I saw, like, because my ADHD, I'll come back to it. But like being in a time where we're going to see like something cool happen in our lifetime where we could see like, wow, this was like history. Like AI is history changing. Like
it is.
It is insane. And for us to live through it, I think that's kind of
I think it's crazy we're getting to live through too because we've seen the internet too.
Yeah,
right? I think in our lifetimes, I think the internet and smartphones. I think you can group all things like smartphones and laptops and under the umbrella of kind of the internet. I know it's hardware and software, but still, the internet being a big thing, we've lived through that. We may live through another one with AI here. We could get two. Most people don't get to see that. They really don't. Not to this scale.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane, and like we're literally gonna see: are we going to thrive as human beings, or Matrix, or Terminator 2, or any one of those dystopian movies gonna come to fruition? And I think to me, it's like living on that edge. It's like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
I think every change we've ever had always led to more employment for more opportunities for people. We haven't had one yet that like, even when they said, "Oh my gosh, factories, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
That's where all the major cities came from. There's a lot of people out there that was crying over that automation. It just increased what people did.
Yeah.
But I think the same thing will happen in a different way. I don't know what those jobs will be, but they'll be different.
Do you think this one's different then, Paul? You have a different
I do feel
this?
it's different because all those still relied on some sort of human labor. And if you could automate like human labor completely, just because you have a whatever the way they're gonna do it, it's like there is literally no need for us, because so I was thinking about I always have these weird thoughts, and I was like, if they come up with a humanoid robot that's able to perform same physical tasks like people do at McDonald's, shopping places at Amazon, whatever, how am I gonna be able to maintain my employment? And so the only thing that I thought of, the government allows you to subsidize the robots, and you pay a fee, and the robot works for you, and you're able to get some money from it. Because if you couldn't do that, the big corporations, they don't owe you anything, and they could say you're going to have universal whatever, but that basically means your whole livelihood is controlled based on the policies that they create. And that's why I'm saying going into the future, I feel like the scary thought for me is this, that right now I'm able to work, right now I'm not automated out of a job yet, and I'm not saying it could not happen for the next 100 years, 200 years. I don't think people should worried today, but as a exercise in thought, that could happen. So it's I'm thinking what are the only ways I could play and feel like I'm getting the reward of those technologies, and it's literally invest in those companies. That's the only way you can do it. Unless I don't know, what are you gonna do?
Well, I think it eliminates but less skilled labor and increases more skilled job opportunities. Yeah. I think what Bobby was kind of getting at there.
That I agree with that 100%. But what is the division of people that are be capable of that high skill level? So there's a book called The Average is Over. It's really old. Some of the parts did not age a lot, but basically what the author predicted is that, and he didn't even talk about so much about this AI revolution at the case that is coming now, but he basically predicted that the job market or sector is going to, the kind of divide is going to grow between unskilled labor to skilled labor, or hyper skilled labor, that majority of the people, they're just not going to have, then there's not going to be enough unskilled roles for them to work at. And so unless you're able to bring your level up, you're in trouble. And what he predicted is, the world changing to where people that are able to partake in the skilled or hyper skilled labor, they're going to live in the cities, they're going to have a certain way of life, but 60% of the population, they're going to have to live in these government subsidized housing because they're not able to afford for the basic needs. And if you take a look at again, tinfoil hat, because I don't want to scare anybody, but if you look at the cost of living and houses and everything else, it's I'm are we heading in that direction? I don't know. I can't predict the future, so I'm just speculating.
Just
here,
universal income me and move me to the slums, I guess.
basically that that's what's going to happen. And I know we're being hyperbolic, at least I am, but I think it's a good thought exercise, because I think thinking about these worst case scenarios that are not happening right now, for instance, if somebody wanted to do a certain job, go ahead and do it, go to school, go to boot camp, go because we're that hasn't happened yet. We're just thinking at some point in the future, don't stop your life for something that might not happen, but I think it's good to have these thoughts, because I think it's important to kind of get a consensus, what are the policies around this stuff and human labor, and what does that mean, for companies? And I think I kind of like that idea where a company should be you can only use AI as tools, but not replacements for human workers. So you need to train your human labor to take advantage of the AI tools that you're creating to help you make the profits that you want, but not completely replace, human labor.
I would ask you a question, Paul. Which do you like better, hand dipped ice cream or soft serve? I think that's the difference we're going to have.
That's
soft serve ice cream.
Analogy.
I don't know. It's automated. It's cool. It's cheap, but man, I could go for some Cold Stone right now. If y'all were all around here, that's what we'd go do right now.
So I'll tell you a funny
I'm on board.
I'll tell you a funny thing, and I'll tell you why I didn't jump on this opportunity. But I have video editor for Shorts specifically, and there's a cost associated with that service.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited because I'm I don't want to make the goddamn Shorts, or just pay someone to do it. And the deal is really, really good. And so my friend who likes to troll, he sends me a website which creates Shorts, and I hate to say it, they're just as good, good enough than my developer, the person that I pay money to. And he's see, Paul, and he's kind of like showing me this. Are you going to like continue like paying your editor, or are you going to like use the service, which is actually cheaper slightly? And what I came to conclusion, like, no, I'm going to continue to use my editor. And he's like, why? It's like, because the thing with this website is that I need to physically log in. I have to physically click like add this video. And then I have to go through the process, wait for it to be done. And then I have to be like, oh, this looks great. Let me save it. And my editor, I just have to send him the file and pay him. I don't need to do anything. So like done for like, so he does the thing for me. But the issue here, the more AI stuff we have, like, it's like, eventually that pool of people to do the things for you is going to be smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I'm like, I don't know.
So you chose the hand dipped. That's what you did.
You did hand dipped it. You did it all the way. And he may use AI to do it.
And I told him I wouldn't
and
feel
you'd
bad
still
about
pay
it.
for it.
He might use that too.
So yeah. And I actually told him you should probably use it because it'll make my shorts better. No, but here's the thing though. Like if I were to, like a lot of people like, because the thing that I'm talking about, before people get scared, like the world ending scenario, that's so far away because a lot of things need to happen. But what I do see, like putting all the kidding aside, there's a lot of people like me that don't want to do the thing. They just want to pay someone money and they don't care if you use an AI service to accomplish the goal. Correct. And so I was actually thinking, I'm just going to start a little agency where I'm going to say I'm doing this service myself, but I'm just going to use these AI tools. And that's where the thing is, if you could take a like bunch of services and combine them to a thing that people pay money because they don't want to do the thing themselves, like people are going to do that. And so that's how you kind of get ahead, because like people say like be a developer, and like some people like I don't want to be a developer. I love making cakes. I don't want to like worry on my website. I want to give you profit from the delicious cakes that I sold, and you deal with that headache. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's what it is.
This is why I don't mow my lawn. I literally have a dude comes out that mows the lawn. I don't want to mow the lawn.
Mine's my 14-year-old son.
There you go. Yeah, kids. I don't. So it's like I got to pay somebody to do it. But I pay the guy way too much, like to mow the lawn compared to I could go buy the lawnmower 10 times over for the amount that I've paid the dude over the years. I seriously could. Or I could buy a robot mower. But to your point, Paul, I won't even buy a robot mower because then I've got to maintain it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to maintain it. I've still got to pay somebody else to maintain it because I don't even want to do that.
But the thing with this, like, because I thought about this more, is if you're living like slightly like above poverty, you can't take advantage of that. And so, for instance,
True.
like when I was growing up, I used to always like cook food at home, like because it's cheaper. And then now, like privileged to work at a company I work for, like I'm not like a millionaire, but to buy like a $15 lunch, like I could do that. And to me, it's more economical to buy $15 lunch than to go to the store, buy the food and make the food and spend 2.5 hours or 3 hours of the process that it takes. Because unless I make $15 an hour, me buying that $15 lunch is more economical. And so I think like if people are in a place where they can't leverage their income to pay for services to get back their time, unfortunately, you have to pay for things with your time. And that's why I'm also afraid, like if the AI services get like so good and we start replacing jobs, is it going to bring that divide between people that actually have income to pay for services that help them like do things?
Well, I think I've brought you full circle now. So I'm feeling like at first you're like the world's ending and now you're going to start an AI business. Ending, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to start an AI business next week.
You're talking to a doomer.
Yeah.
I say, remember his PDoom score.
Yeah, it's like 99 at this point. I'm like, no, but to like all kidding aside, yes, it is true. Like that's how, like I'm trying to, just like you're doing, I'm trying to show the whole gamut of the thought process where people actually don't lose hope. And they're like, no, there's opportunities, there's things we could do. Yeah. And that's like how we navigate these times.
I think the same challenge we'll have 5 years from now or 10 years or 50 years from now is the same challenge people that are uneducated today have. You have to invest in yourself. You have to skill up whatever you're doing. And, you know, before we had to learn to read and write. Not everyone knew how to do that. And now that's a requirement, you know, like pretty much you got to be literate to be work in the US. You know, so like the skills are going to go up comparative to where they are today, but it'll just be, that's what you got to know. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think everyone will step up to that challenge or they'll stay in the poverty level, just like we have today. That
right.
People that aren't educated, they only can do a certain amount of jobs. You know, some people, don't want to be they want to stay at this level because it's easy. Like it's very easy to do. And there's some people that want to get up here, and they're working their tails off to do that.
Yeah, I just think
I'm in this camp. I'm trying to get way up here, I'm still like struggling to go up the mountain, but like I'm going to run at it every day.
and I think that's what everybody has to like try to do in their life. And it's obviously like harder said than done. But I feel like the only issue with like some of this AI technology, if you don't develop the literacy to take advantage of it, you're not going to have the opportunity.
I guess. I mean, what we're saying is two things, like the prompts, or they're saying the prompts are going to make it easier to do things. And in some ways, they're right. You could become a better marketer than you are now. If you know nothing about marketing, you can use ChatGPT to write marketing messages. Are they great? No, but it's better than what you could do right now. And then you might could get better at it. Yeah. I think, man, graphic designers, this has going to replace graphic designers. I can do it from personal experience, man. Kevin's better at Midjourney than I am. I have messed with that stuff forever. And every time he comes out and makes a car for the Not Know podcast, he's like, 5 minutes. I just did that. That's because he sees it, visualizes it, and he can write a prompt because he has something in his brain. And some of us are like, I don't know how to do that. Like all you have to do is type the prompt in. I mean, but yeah, I think a lot of people will skill up, and then there's going to be jobs for people that are creative always.
Yeah.
Always, because they're going to use this stuff. They're going to see it and they're going to make it happen, like whatever that is. It's just getting easier.
Yeah.
But at least we won't have to change our batteries for the next 50 years.
I know. It's exactly.
Bring it back.
Amazing how this conversation. No, but I think it's really cool to talk about all the different possibilities.
Yeah.
And give
I do like this battery picture. It says not to dismantle.
Right.
Don't take this battery apart.
Don't try and find the nuclear power inside.
This is where I see it not succeeding, just because like people are so scared of like basically the word nuclear. Like if we can take any data from what's going on with the Stanley Cups, like, I'm not a Stanley girl. I love my Owalas, but people are freaking right the heck out that there's like an itty bitty piece of lead on that, like out, like on the cup, and like freaking out about this piece of lead. You think those people are going to put something nuclear in their pocket? I don't think so.
If Apple sells it to them, they will.
Well, that's true.
Maybe. Well, they put a lithium-ion bomb in their pocket right now.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, really.
Yeah.
But they just don't know. But I agree.
Like the word nuclear. Yes, exactly.
It's the word. Yeah, they don't understand that the lithium-ion bomb is in their pocket right now. Right? Because I mean, you pierce one of those battery things, they literally explode. It's it's probably more dangerous than one of these. Right. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's the word. I agree, it's the word. They need to call it something else. Branding needs to be worked on, I think, for this.
Yeah, don't rely on ChatGPT for this branding.
Not nuclear batteries.
No.
Exactly. Half-life and nickel. That's
exactly.
We're totally
Half-life
not
enabled.
nuclear.
There you go. Half-life enabled.
That's it. Yeah, I like that branding. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.